Streaming live now on News8000.com. You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now, This Morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Michael Germain in for Dua.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
It is Monday, October 9th, 2023. What can we kind of expect for temperatures this week?
Yeah, it's a little cool out there, right? It's freezing in the studio too, by the way. But we're also talking about frost advisories this morning too, Michael. In fact, one of the first here, if not the first of the year, until 9 o'clock here again for all of the Coulee region. That's because our temperatures are expected to fall to the mid-30s in some spots. That could result in some of that frost formation. So what you want to do is, if you have any of those outdoor plants, try to bring them inside if you can, or try to cover them up, because these type of temperatures can damage or kill those sensitive vegetation that you may have outside. Here's a look at the current temperatures. We got the 30s in Eau Claire, 38 right now up there. Black River Falls, you're at 31. La Crosse a bit warmer though at 40. Sparta's at 33. Winona's currently at 37. Clear skies right now all across the area. We were dealing with some passing clouds here overnight. They have since cleared out. And a check on your planner here throughout the day. We remain on the clear side through at least 10 o'clock with temperatures in the 40s and then warming up in the 50s this afternoon under partly cloudy and a bit of a breeze as well. Clear skies for the morning to start for your dog walking conditions, and then we turn partly cloudy into the afternoon as well as into the evening hours as well. But stay tuned. I'm going to have a check on your Schoolcast plus your full weather forecast coming up in a few minutes, and we'll talk about what the rest of the week could look like, and maybe even some rain chances down the road as well. Michael?
Thanks, Derek. Let's get to some news this morning. Fighting for the freedom to read. That was the goal of an event held at Pearl Street Books in La Crosse this weekend. It was time to cap off Banned Books Week, which raises awareness about attempts to ban books around the country. The store held a talk that explored the dangers of book bans and censorship. It also gave visitors a chance to read passages aloud from their favorite banned books. Fulcrum Books publisher Sam Shinta explained the aims of the event.
And so what we're trying to do this year is invite the general public to come and actually read from some of those titles to celebrate the freedom to read, the freedom to have access to information.
According to the American Library Association, recent years have seen a major surge in attempts to ban books. During the first 8 months of 2023, the organization recorded 695 attempts to censor library materials. That's a 20% increase from the same period last year. People in the Coulee region walked to end hunger this weekend. It's part of the Coulee Region Hunger Walk Run. Since 2018, the walk has been fighting hunger and providing over $55,000 to local nonprofit food agencies. According to Madeline Bulow of the Coulee Region Hunger Planning Committee, inflation has impacted food pantries by leaving some empty. She explained why these types of walks are critical.
Hunger is often unseen, and even especially in our rural communities. And so we serve 1,400 people a month. So it's here in the region, and we just want to make sure that people realize that.
25% of the proceeds will benefit Wayford Food Pantry, and another 25% will go to the Hunger Task Force of La Crosse. The remaining 50% will go towards a food relief agencies the participants choose. The Down Syndrome Association of Wisconsin Greater La Crosse hosted their 21st annual Down Syndrome Awareness Walk. The goal for the awareness walk was to raise visibility and acceptance of people with Down syndrome and other disabilities. The event featured horse-drawn carriage rides, face painting, and much more. The association was created by families in 1990 with their mission to make everything possible for individuals with Down syndrome and other disabilities. For more information on this story, you can visit our website at news8000.com. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is here. In Minnesota, people showed off their pink to support patients undergoing treatment. 220 people participated in the 3rd annual Think Pink Color Fund Run/Walk. Through the Winona Health Foundation Breast Cancer Fund, the money helps with items that might not be covered by insurance, including wigs, gas cards, and grocery cards. The event also celebrates survivors and caregivers while honoring those lost to breast cancer. Winona Health Foundation Community Engagement Manager Catrice Sisson described what the biggest takeaway is.
It's a battle that it's not easily fought. The biggest thing to take away would be camaraderie and an entire community behind anyone who's diagnosed or going through treatment with breast cancer.
The race might be over, but people can still donate to the Breast Cancer Patient Care Fund through the Winona Health Foundation. We have a link attached to our article about the event on news8000.com. Enjoying a beer to promote the arts. That was the scene at Dash Park in Onalaska, where the Onalaska Art Keepers hosted their annual Pumpkin and a Pint Festival. The festival was free to attend, but $10 got festgoers a pumpkin to paint and a pint of their favorite beverage. The event also featured an art auction, crafts, face painting, games, and live music. News 8 spoke with Art Keepers President Dan Stevens to find out what the event brings to the Onalaska community.
We've got games for small kids, we've got crafts for people older. We got adults that just come down and have fun, and they don't even have kids. So this is really is good for families. It's good for young kids. It's good for adults. It's just a nice time all around.
Stevens says anyone interested in supporting arts and culture in Onalaska should reach out to the Onalaska Art Keepers via their Facebook page. The event also announced the name of a new art installation, the Rocking Sunfish. The sculpture has been dubbed Bobber by popular acclaim. You can see Bobber at the Great River Landing in Onalaska. Speaking of the arts, there was a free film screening at the Winona Arts Center over the weekend. Guests got a chance to see Tracings, a dance film created by Winona-based artist Sharon Mansour. The film reflects on the nature of walking, looking at a walk as a creative act. Along with screening Mansour's film, the event featured discussion about the production process. Artist Sharon Mansour described what she wanted people to take away from the event.
I suppose it was an invitation for people to get outside and to notice the environment that they're walking through every day, perhaps to explore new areas, perhaps to open up to new perspectives. And it's also an invitation to really connect to our environment.
A representative from the Minnesota Driplets Hiking Trail also appeared to talk about plans to create a 100-mile footpath across southeastern Minnesota. We'll have more information about Sharon Mansour and her projects posted on our website, news8000.com. The La Crosse Public Library held a kickoff event in honor of today's Indigenous Peoples Day. The event speaker talked about the history of the people and the land that would later become known as Wisconsin. Indigenous Peoples Day is a holiday that celebrates and honors Native Americans. It also recognizes the challenges they still continue to face. In 2021, President Biden issued the first presidential proclamation to honor the holiday. The La Crosse County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office will be holding community listening sessions throughout the month of October. The first session will be this evening at 6 o'clock at the Holland Town Hall. Residents can also participate in the sessions virtually. We'll have a list of all the listening sessions on our website, news8000.com. Well, still ahead on your morning news, with more workers around the country fighting for fair wages and job conditions, Walgreens employees are set to stage a series of walkouts this week. We'll tell you why in just a few minutes. And with the holidays fast approaching, it may be time to start booking your holiday getaways. We'll take a look at some tips and tricks that can help keep you from being stuck at the gate. That and much more coming up this morning. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. Every holiday season brings new takes on the classic Advent calendar tradition. This year, Americans will get the chance to try what may be the strangest Advent calendar ever created. Frozen food brand Stouffer's has announced that it will be selling its own Advent calendar this year. The product is called the Comfort Calendar, and yes, it is indeed filled with frozen food. Inside, you'll find a variety of Stouffer's classics. That includes macaroni and cheese, lasagna, and even French bread pizza. The Comfort Calendar was available for purchase online, but according to the company, it sold out in under 15 minutes. However, Stouffer says the Comfort Calendar will be restocked and available October 23rd. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning is after the break.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Frost advisories are in effect here for all of the Coulee region until 9 o'clock this morning. So if you have any of those sensitive outdoor plants, probably a good idea to go ahead and bring them inside if you can, or at least at the very least just cover them up, because the temperatures here this morning are definitely a little on the cool side and enough here to potentially damage or even kill those crops. So just be aware of that here this morning. Temperatures into the mid-50s, 56 in West Salem. To the north of Maduro, you're currently going to be at 55 for the forecast this afternoon. 56 in Soldiers Grove, and we're going to be looking at highs reaching around 57 today in New Albin. Forecast high numbers across our central zones this afternoon. Low to mid 50s, 55 today in Melrose, and we're going to be looking at highs reaching at 54 degrees for much of the Chippewa Valley today, with 54 in Eau Claire. As of right now, as far as the satellite picture goes, we were dealing with some passing clouds overnight. They have since cleared out, and the same can be said here for the bus stop forecast this morning. Clear skies, 43 degrees being the temperature. And on the way back home here today, mostly cloudy, temperatures at around 56 degrees. I'll have another check on that full weather forecast coming up in a few minutes.
In your consumer news this morning, 2023 has been the year of the strike, and workers don't show any sign of slowing down. A week after CVS employees walked off the job, Walgreens workers are set to do the same. The workers are protesting pharmacy conditions at the chain. Specifically, organizers want to draw attention to being overworked and understaffed. In a statement, Walgreens acknowledged that its employees are overworked. The walkouts begin today. Folks enjoying a slice of deep dish in Chicago this week may notice their server seems extra cheerful. That's because the Windy City is ending sub-minimal wages for tip workers. The City Council voted to raise tip workers' minimum wage from $9 to $15.80 per hour. The move comes as people are tipping less nationwide. According to Bankrate, 65% of people say they always tip wait staff, down from 75% in 2021. The raises will begin in July of next year. Debate about service industry pay has greater significance in light of new numbers from the Labor Department. According to the agency, U.S. restaurant employment has surpassed pre-pandemic levels. Food service outlets added just over 60,000 jobs in September, bringing the total of service workers nationwide to 12.73 million. That's 30,000 more than in February of 2020. Experts say it shows the restaurant industry is alive and well after being hit hard by COVID. There are concerns that airlines may not be ready, for the upcoming holiday season influx of passengers. Ivan Rodriguez has some tips and tricks to help you make sure you aren't stuck at home this holiday season.
Holiday travelers could be in for another rough go at the airport this year. A new report from U.S. PIRG found flying has not gotten much better since a highly problematic 2022.
Flying is still really stressful, filled with way too many delays, cancellations, fees that people don't expect, lost baggage, damaged wheelchairs, all of it.
And the threat of government shutdown could make it worse. The new deadline for Congress to fund the government hits just as travel is expected to pick up. While TSA agents and air traffic controllers are considered essential, they would be working without pay.
Then you would start seeing people call off work because they might go choose to do something like DoorDash or something so they could bring in money.
To avoid major headaches, travel experts have a few suggestions. Book directly through the airlines. Try to take an early morning flight. Download your airline's app. It's the fastest way to stay up to date on your flight status and to make any changes if necessary. If problems do happen, know that you do have rights. Reach out to the airlines first. If they do not offer a meaningful resolution, you can file a complaint with the Department of Transportation. Teresa Murray with U.S. PIRG says the key is to follow through.
Sometimes you think that they're just trying to wear you down and wait you out. If you haven't heard something in 30 days, then follow up. Because nothing ever is going to change unless people are willing to speak up for their rights.
That's it for your morning consumer news. Let's check in with Derek in today's forecast.
All right, thanks so much for that, Michael. We are starting a little on the cool side this morning. CityCam 8 in downtown La Crosse showing that we're off to a quiet start. It's 40 degrees, north winds at around 6 miles an hour with clear skies overhead. Now in Eau Claire, you're much cooler than that though, however. You're currently sitting at 38 degrees with clear skies. It does feel like 33 though when you factor in northwest winds at 6 miles an hour. That's the wind chill. Frost advisory is currently in effect until 9 o'clock this morning, as you can see highlighted for all of us across the Coulee region. So you want to make sure that you bring those plants inside if you can. If not, try to cover them up because they will be exposed to these cold temperatures if not protected securely, and that could cause some damage to your crops, if not kill them completely. So you want to make sure that you're taking those precautions there. Temperatures are right now into the 30s and 40s. Look at that 30-degree reading right now in Sparta, 32 right at the freezing mark in Black River Falls, 37 in Winona, and we're looking at 38 currently down in Bosque Bell. So a check now on your overall planner. We start off with clear skies, 43 the temperature. Then we're at partly cloudy, 51 degrees at noon today, 55 and mostly cloudy at 4. And then temperatures dropping to 48 degrees under mostly clear skies by 8 o'clock this evening. With our forecast high numbers today into the mid-50s for the most part this afternoon. I'm expecting 53 in Eau Claire today and a high of 56 degrees this afternoon if you're in La Crosse. Sky Tracker showing that we have those clear skies, looking at some clouds that could possibly increase from the north across the Chippewa Valley around 9 o'clock, and those clouds will only continue to move south. So that's why we are expecting some increase in clouds here by around 3 o'clock, which is all associated, by the way, with this very large low pressure system well to the north of us. And then by 9 o'clock, you can see some of those clouds begin to thin out here a little bit before increasing yet again here, it looks like, as we head into overnight into early tomorrow morning for our eastern communities. As you can see, the eastern half of the viewing area looking a little bit more cloudy compared to the rest of us as we head into tomorrow at around 11 o'clock or so. And then by 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, most of the clouds here dissipating. Some showers here possible off to the north. We'll keep most of the clouds mainly to the north as we head into tomorrow night, with a slight chance of a shower possible near the Chippewa Valley area. A check on your 8-day forecast showing highs remain to the 50s through tomorrow, and then briefly warming up to the low 60s under partly cloudy skies for your Wednesday. I am watching for a chance of showers here for Thursday and Friday, good chances that is, and some lingering showers could be possible into early this weekend on Saturday. Other than that, these high temperatures remaining mostly consistent into the 50s, low temperatures mainly into the 40s, with the exceptions of the upper 30s over the next couple of mornings there. But stay with us. We're back with much more news and weather still to come on News 8 Now this morning. For now, we're sending you a break with a look what happened on this day in history for October 9th. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Morning Blitz. I'm Kate Overton, and yesterday was a great day of NFL football. No Packers game, so we start in Minnesota. The Vikings played host to the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Minnesota just 1-3 to start the year, and dropping yet another game will cause a lot of frustration. We go to US Bank Stadium, no Taylor Swift in attendance, just a ton of Vikings super fans. Story of the season so far? Turnovers, and it didn't change today. First play of the game, Cousins goes out to Josh Oliver, but Oliver is going to be stripped, and Kansas City jumps on it. Cousins just can't catch a break. One more look at it, and yes, that ball is out. So how do the Chiefs respond? Mahomes hands it off to Isaiah Pacheco. He takes it in for 6. Chiefs take an early lead. Vikings, they would manage a couple of field goals, and then with 2 minutes to go in the half, Cousins connects with Jordan Addison, and the rookie takes it to the 6 before finally being brought down. 2 plays later, Cousins, play action, has some time, and it's Addison again. Vikings take a 3-point lead. Second half, and the Chiefs started to get hot. Mahomes goes to Rashee Rice on the slant route. That's another touchdown. KC up 7. Travis Kelce would go down with an injury, but in the third quarter, he was able to shake it off and make the touchdown grab. That puts the Chiefs up 14. But here come the Vikings. Fourth quarter, and it's Kirko time. He hits Madison with a quick pass, and Madison makes it in to put Minnesota within 7. One last chance. Vikings need a touchdown. Cousins feeling the pressure, and he's brought down on the sack. That's the ball game. Chiefs win 27-20, and the Vikings fall to 1-4 on the year. A much different start than last season.
We need to start faster. First quarters need to be better. We need to protect the football. We need to make plays when they're there.
Very much a disappointed locker room right now. We felt like we could come out today and compete with the defending world champs.
Well, to make matters worse, Justin Jefferson left the game with a hamstring injury. His status for next week is unknown. Vikings in Chicago next Sunday. Let's go to Minute Maid Park. Twins versus the Astros in the ALDS Game 2. An up-and-down season for Carlos Correa, but when things matter most, he shows up. With the runner on, he sends one out to deep left field. It's off the wall. Jorge Polanco comes around to score, and Correa is in with an RBI double. Next inning, man on first for Kyle Farmer, and he's going to put a drive into this ball high and deep to left, and it's gone. A two-run shot. Twins up 3. What a night for Pablo Lopez. Gets the strikeout here to end the threat. He would go 7 innings, finishing with 7 strikeouts and no runs against. 5th inning, bases loaded for guess who? It's Correa. This time, lines one up the middle. 2 runners come around to score, and Correa now 3rd all-time in postseason RBIs. And he does it against his former team. Twins close it out and take Game 2, 6-2. Packers in Vegas tonight for Monday Night Football. We'll have more on that one later this evening. That'll do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
You're watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
A U.S. official says at least 4 Americans are among the hundreds killed after Hamas launched an attack on Israel, one of the targets an Israeli techno music festival. The country says it's at war and it's vowing harsh retaliation. CBS News correspondent Naomi Ruckham has the latest details from New York.
The night sky over Gaza glowed orange as Israel launched more airstrikes overnight. Palestinians ran for cover after an earlier attack. Bulldozers cleared some of the rubble in Gaza. Israeli soldiers converged on the south, where Hamas says it took dozens of hostages. Frustrated family members of the missing are gathering at a center in Tel Aviv.
We don't know what's going on. No one's talking to us. We can't get in contact with anyone.
The U.S. is sending a carrier strike group to the region in support of Israel, which includes the Navy aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford.
The only things we've said to Israel are that we're here, we've got your back. We want to make sure that you have the support that you need.
Some GOP presidential candidates are criticizing the Biden administration's response.
There's a lack of leadership at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke to President Biden and the leaders of Germany, Ukraine, Italy, and Britain, who offered their support.
Now is not a time for equivocation, and I'm unequivocal. Hamas and the people who support Hamas are fully responsible for this appalling act of terror.
The permanent observer of Palestine to the United Nations called for an end to Israeli occupation.
It is time for an immediate end to the violence and the bloodshed.
Israel is already mourning its victims, including an Israeli policeman.
The death toll on both sides has topped 1,000. Israel says more than 700 have died, mostly civilians, and more than 2,100 were hurt. Energizer is closing its southwestern Wisconsin plant, leading 172 people to lose their jobs. In a letter to the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development, the battery manufacturer said it will permanently close its facility in Fenimore. All of the employees working at the plant will be laid off. The facility will officially close in September 2024, but the first round of layoffs is expected to begin December 1st. The Wisconsin Supreme Court agreed along partisan lines to hear a challenge to the Republican-drawn legislative maps. The decision to hear the case comes after the court's newest liberal justice, Janet Protasiewicz, elected to stay on the case. That's despite calls from Republicans for her to rescue herself due to her previously calling the maps unfair. The court will hear arguments that the current districts are not contiguous and violate Wisconsin's separations of powers doctrine. Protasewicz' decision to stay on the case increases the chance that Republicans will proceed with efforts to impeach her. Democratic State Senator Brad Pfaff disagrees with the potential impeachment. Pfaff calls the current districts gerrymandered and says fighting to have maps drawn in favor of one political party is not the right way to do things. Pfaff says politicians should focus on listening to voters instead of trying to impeach Protasewicz if they want to stay in power.
Thinking that you're going to protect your power by impeaching a Supreme Court justice, that's a fool's errand. Don't do it. Instead, get out, meet the voters, listen to the voters, respect the voters.
Wisconsin's assembly districts rank the most gerrymandered nationally. An analysis from the Associated Press found that Republicans are routinely winning far more seats than they are expected to based on their average share of the vote. Nearly half of women 40 and older who get mammograms have dense breast tissue, according to the National Cancer Institute. Yet many of them may not know or realize how it impacts their cancer risk. Bradley Blackburn introduces us to a survivor working to change that.
Joanne Pushkin started annual breast cancer screening at age 40. At 46, she found a lump, which was not picked up by a mammogram.
I found out I had breast cancer, that it had been missed by mammography because of dense breasts, and that I had dense breasts all within 10 minutes of each other. And I had the ultrasound, 15 minutes later, and there it was, clear as a bell.
She had later stage cancer, which required many surgeries, chemotherapy, and radiation.
I really feel like I was effectively denied an earlier stage diagnosis, so there was no awareness that we should be discussing additional screening, no awareness that dense tissue hides breast cancers.
That's because dense breast tissue can look white on a mammogram, and masses and cancers can also look white.
Mammography alone is not adequate screening for women that have dense breast. Additional imaging, such as MRI or ultrasound, should be done.
The American Cancer Society says women with dense breasts also have a higher risk of breast cancer.
Dense breasts are much more common in younger women. Having information is actually very important in understanding how you should be screened and what your risk is.
Information Pushkin didn't have, so she created Dense Breast Info. She fought for a New York State breast density law and testified before the FDA. As of next September, all mammogram reports sent to patients will be required to include breast density.
Nothing I'm doing is going to save any woman from getting breast cancer, unfortunately. But what this does is increase the possibility that we're going to find it early.
She's also working on legislation that would make insurers cover all breast imaging costs for higher risk women.
The American Cancer Society says if a woman has dense breast tissue, it's still important to have regular mammograms because most breast cancers can still be seen on a mammogram even in dense tissue. If you have ever tried to change your diet and failed, it could be because of your DNA. Researchers have found that 4 different genes are closely associated with how easily it is for someone to change their diet. They do not know for sure how it happens, but say the new findings may help experts personalize dietary recommendations in the future. The study was published in the Public Library of Science journal, PLOS One. Now here's Derek to tell us what to expect for our morning commute.
All right, thanks so much for that, Michael. Keep in mind, we still have these frost advisories in effect for all of us across the Coulee region until 9 o'clock this morning. So if you have any outdoor plants that may be a little bit sensitive to this type of cold temperatures, try to cover them up or bring them inside if you can here as well, because these type of temperatures can either damage or kill some of the sensitive vegetation if left exposed out in these open cold temperatures that we're seeing right now, which are into the 30s and 40s, 38 right now in Eau Claire, 40 degrees the temperature now in La Crosse. So here's a check on your forecast today. 56, partly cloudy, a little cool and breezy out there. Northwest winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. For tonight, 37 degrees, partly cloudy, some frost as possible. West-northwest winds light at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And we did have a few clouds that moved through overnight, but it looks like since then, ever since really the early morning hours arrived, skies have cleared out. We are looking at clear skies to start this morning. Temperatures warming up into the 50s this afternoon for your mowing conditions, so I think it should be okay there under partly cloudy conditions. I'll have a final check on that full weather forecast coming up in a few minutes.
Before we head to break, it's time to look at today. Look who's 8.
We got one birthday today, and it's to Owen, who is turning 8. He loves his family, going up north, and he also likes mowing with his grandpa too, which is pretty cool.
If you know a special someone turning 8 weeks, 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
That's right, just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for that Submit Pictures button underneath the Home tab on our website.
Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Looking at clear skies this morning from CityCam 8 in downtown La Crosse, but it is a little on the cool side. Temperatures are currently at 40 degrees, north winds light at around 6 miles an hour, and that's just enough to make our feel-like temperature, in other words, that wind chill, at 36 degrees. So that's what it feels like on the exposed skin thanks to the northerly winds there that we have in place. 38 degrees is our current temperature if you're in Eau Claire, so much colder to the north in the Chippewa Valley. Clear skies, northwest winds there at 6 miles an hour. It does feel like 33 degrees though when you factor in the wind chill here currently as well. All right, so we do have frost advisories in effect all across the News 8 Now viewing area until 9 o'clock this morning. So if you do have any of those plants that may be a little bit sensitive to these type of temperatures that we're currently experiencing this morning, it's a good idea to go ahead to either cover them up or try to bring them inside here if you can, because these type of temperatures this morning is enough to possibly even damage the crops or even kill them altogether. So that's something to be aware of here this morning. Temperatures right now into the 30s and 40s. We got 30 degrees in Black River Falls as well as in Sparta, 38 down south in Boscobel and to the west in Winona. You're currently waking up to 37 degrees. So on today's planner, we're going to be starting off with clear skies, 43 degrees at 7, followed by 51 and partly cloudy at noon today. And then we turn a little on the mostly cloudy side with temperatures at 55 at 4 o'clock. And then we clear out of here a little bit with temperatures dropping to 48 degrees by early on this evening, with forecast high numbers today into the low to mid 50s. More so the low 50s north into the Chippewa Valley, mid 50s the further south you are into the La Crosse area this afternoon. So again, clear skies will continue throughout the morning. At 9 o'clock we could see a little bit of cloud cover develop in the Chippewa Valley. Those clouds will only continue to increase and push their way south as we're still dealing with the backside of this very strong low pressure system well to the north over Canada, still spilling a little bit of moisture here on the backside of the system in the way of some clouds, and you can see some of those clouds continue through at least 9 o'clock tonight. Partly cloudy conditions do continue mainly for our eastern communities overnight into early tomorrow morning. I think most of the clouds and rain showers though will be well to the east over central and eastern Wisconsin as we head into tomorrow afternoon. And as a matter of fact, 5 o'clock we could see those clouds here clear out here a little bit as most of the cloud cover and a couple of light showers will be mainly focused again towards our east and also towards our north across portions of the Chippewa Valley for tomorrow night. A check on your 8-day forecast showing that we will keep our high temperatures in the 50s through tomorrow under partly cloudy conditions. So we're looking similar to what we're seeing today, and then we're looking at highs in the low 60s for tomorrow. So a brief warm up there before we see a good chance of showers for Thursday and Friday.
Well, we're joined by Nick, the director, correct? For the upcoming UWL production. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. Kind of want to get into it, but first question I have is, what do you want people to take away from this production?
Yeah, so Dr. Faustus is a classic make a deal with the devil story. You know, it's from Shakespeare's time, but we're doing it in sort of this great big gothic horror, creepy Halloween type feel that's going to feel way more modern than Shakespeare per se, right? And so what I want people to take away from it is, one, that it's just a good time. Yeah. We're really, really aiming for people to have fun with this one. And if you dig a little deeper, to think about questions like about temptation and about knowledge and what you would give your soul for and what might be worth that.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about like what the show is about and how this came about as well? Like what brought the idea up to the show?
Yeah, sure. So it's about a guy named Dr. Faustus who's a scholar, and he's just one of these guys who it's never enough. And so he's constantly craving more and more and more. And so he makes this deal with Lucifer himself to sell his soul for 24 years of knowledge and power and pleasure. And of course, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so we watch his inevitable, spoiler alert, downfall. Yeah.
Okay.
What would you say your favorite part about working on this production was?
My answer for this might be a tad boring because it's always the same, and it's working with our students at UWL. They are fantastic, and every single night, we started here, and somehow every night it gets better and better and better as they work on it.
So, you know, there's a lot of other Halloween-based productions out there. What makes this stand out compared to others, you think?
Well, one is that it is from that Shakespearean time period, right? It has this very poetic, beautiful language that we have worked really hard to make crystal clear, so you're not going to have to work hard, right? Like you did in your English classes. It's going to hit the ear and you'll just know intuitively what they're talking about. And that's really a huge part of why we chose it. We haven't done a Shakespeare or something from that period since before the pandemic, so it was time to offer that to our students, and it was time to do something spooky for this season.
How long have you been involved within the UWL theater system?
This is only my second year, so my wife and I just moved to the area 2 summers ago from the Pittsburgh area, so I'm started my second year, third production here, so.
So I know you mentioned the UWL, theater department. So have they shown this type of, what's the word I'm looking for, Michael?
Like the style of the show before?
Yeah, have they shown something like this before in the past?
It's been a while. They did Dracula.
I had a bit of a brain fart there.
Sure, no worries.
Yeah.
They did Dracula quite a while ago that had a similar kind of, spooky Halloween feel to it. But gosh, I think that's been at least over a decade, so it's been a minute.
How many total shows have you directed, or is this your first?
Oh, no. About 8-ish productions directed, but I came to directing as a professional actor, and so I've worked on productions in all kinds of capacities and just dozens and dozens of them,
So in the play, Dr. Faustus sells his soul for knowledge.
Yeah.
What lessons, if any, would you say Dr. Faustus has to teach in the U.S. in the 21st century?
Yeah, so of course we don't want it to just be this rusty old historical piece, right? We need it to breathe into the present. And one, because it's about temptation and desire, it's sort of always relevant. We're always telling Faustus stories, whether it's Little Mermaid, right? Or Little Shop of Horrors. But beyond that, it's also about, and I want people to think about where knowledge comes from and how we know and think we know the things we know.
All right, so real quickly, because we're running out of time, but where can people get tickets and more information?
Yeah, so go on the computer, on the phone, type in UWL Theater. There's a big button right on our homepage that says buy tickets here.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Well, we'll be right back.
Energizer is closing its southwestern Wisconsin plant, leading 172 people to lose their jobs. In a letter to the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development, the battery manufacturer said it will be permanently closing its facility in Fenimore. All of the employees working at the plant will be laid off. The facility will officially close in September 2024, but the first round of layoffs is expected to begin December 1st. The Wisconsin Supreme Court agreed along partisan lines to hear a challenge to the Republican-drawn legislative maps. The decision to hear the case comes after the court's newest liberal justice, Janet Protasiewicz, elected to say on the case. That's despite calls from Republicans for her to rescue herself due to her previously calling the maps unfair. The court will hear arguments that the current districts are contiguous and violate Wisconsin's separation of powers doctrine. Breast Cancer Awareness Month this year, in Minnesota, people showed off their pink to support patients undergoing treatment. 220 people participated in the 3rd annual Think Pink Color Fun Run/Walk. Through the Winona Health Foundation Breast Cancer Fund, the money helps with items that might not be covered by insurance, including wigs, gas cards, and grocery carts. The event also celebrates survivors and caregivers while honoring those lost to breast cancer. Winona Health Foundation Community Engagement Manager Catrice Sassone described what the biggest takeaway is.
It's a battle that it's not easily fought. The biggest thing to take away would be camaraderie and an entire community behind anyone who's diagnosed or going through treatment with breast cancer.
The race might be over, but people can still donate to the Breast Cancer Patient Care Fund through the Winona Health Foundation. We have a link attached to our article about the event on news8000.com. Enjoying a beer to promote the arts. That was a scene at Dash Park in Onalaska, where the Onalaska Art Keepers hosted their annual Pumpkin and a Pint Festival. The festival was free to attend, but $10 got festgoers a pumpkin to paint and a pint of their favorite beverage. The event also featured an art auction, crafts, face painting, games, and live music. News 8 spoke with Art Keepers President Dan Stevens to find out what the event brings to the Onalaska community.
We've got games for small kids. We've got crafts for people older. We've got adults that just come down and have fun, and they don't even have kids. So this is really it's good for families. It's good for young kids. It's good for adults. It's just a nice time all around.
Stevens says anyone interested in supporting arts and culture in Onalaska should reach out to the Onalaska Art Keepers via their Facebook page. The event also announced the name of a new art installation, The Rocking Sunfish. The sculpture has been dubbed Bobber by popular acclaim. You can see Bobber at the Great River Landing in Onalaska. The La Crosse Public Library held a kickoff event in honor of today's Indigenous Peoples Day. The event's speaker talked about the history of the people and the land that would later become known as Wisconsin. Indigenous Peoples Day is a holiday that celebrates and honors Native Americans. It also recognizes the challenges they still continue to face. In 2021, President Biden issued the first presidential proclamation to celebrate the holiday. The La Crosse County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office will be holding community listening sessions throughout the month of October. The first session will be this evening at 6 at the Holland Town Hall. Residents can also participate in the sessions virtually. We'll have a list of all the listening sessions on our website, news8000.com.
And as you head out the door this morning, temperatures are into the low to mid 40s. It sure is a cold one out there to start with frost advisories also in effect until 9 o'clock this morning. So if you have any of those sensitive plants, try to cover them up or bring them inside if you can. The rest of the day, we warm up into the 50s, and that's about it here for our temperatures. That's about as warm as we'll get. Partly cloudy skies. Similar conditions for the day tomorrow as well. Brief warm up on Wednesday, and then we're talking about good chances of rain showers on Thursday and Friday with those highs into the 50s throughout the rest of this week. Low temperatures mainly into the 40s with the exception of the upper 30s over the next couple of mornings, so it's getting cool out there.
Man, why can't summer be back?
I wish summer was just 365 days out of the year.
Me too.
That's just my favorite season.
Yeah, totally. But with fall, you got football. And
you do, yeah. I know. It wouldn't be, fall without football.
Exactly.
As we all know.
And my team, the Lions, are first place
be
in the
careful about
division.
the Lions, division rival out here.
Yeah, that's true.
My team's the Dolphins, so I don't think the viewers will hate me for that.
Sorry to all the Packer fans, but
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching News 8 Now this morning. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day on news8000.com. We'll see you at noon.